Welcome to What's Next with Eric Wood, where we will prepare you to make your what's next in life your best yet. Our next guest is Blaise Ffrench. Blaise is an actor, model, NBA agent, and businessman. He helped build the BODYARMOR sports drink to its ultimate sale to Coca-Cola for $5.6 billion in cash, which put the value of the company at $8 billion. This episode will help anyone out there to get to your next level personally, whether that is through business, sports, growing your social media, and much more. If you enjoy this podcast, please rate, review, and subscribe to help spread the impact we hope to have. Thank you to everyone out there that has shared the podcast with friends, whether that's email, whether that's text, or on social media. It's because of you that our listener numbers have grown like crazy, and I'm incredibly grateful. Enjoy. Blaise, welcome to the show, my brother.
Eric, what's up, man? It's a pleasure to be here, my guy.
Hey, honestly, it's a pleasure for me. Welcome to the Punch Energy team. We have an awesome group of ambassadors. We're so fired up to have you as a part of that team. And I'm excited, honestly, to get to know you better through this podcast. And I have followed you for a while, and I'm excited for the listeners to hear more about your story. And then also there's going to be so many great takeaways, whether it's sport, business, life. We're going to have a lot of fun, but we're going to start off with you like we do with all the guests. So I want you to tell the listeners about where you're from and what kind of athlete you were. But I'm going to ruin part of this story because you end up playing college basketball for my favorite team in the tournament this year. So I'm a University of Louisville, big time University of Louisville fan. So we root hard against the Wildcats. So I'm going to spoil a little bit of the end of the story athletically, but where you're from and what kind of athlete were you?
Yeah, man, I'm from Queens, New York. Grew up playing basketball my whole life. And, I first went to UTEP, the University of Texas at El Paso. And then I transferred to St. Peter's, who had a Cinderella run this year. When I was there, we made it to the NCAA tournament. So that was the first time in like 40 years. And now these guys this year, man, an incredible run to the Elite Eight, man. So just very proud to be a Peacock. But yeah, Queens, New York, man, and I'm very proud to be from there. We have a saying called Queens get the money. We have a lot of people from Queens that are successful and to high standards. So I'm lucky to be from Queens, man.
What makes Queens so special? Because there's certain areas of the country that produce successful people, whether it's business, whether it's Western Pennsylvania producing Hall of Fame quarterbacks. And I understand that's a lot of the culture there. It's the competition in high school football. It breeds that toughness. What's it about Queens that produces all these successful people out there?
Yeah, I think it goes back to just it's being a better borough. I love Brooklyn, I love Manhattan, but I think people moved out to Queens because it's closer to Long Island, so it's kind of like a suburban borough.
Yeah.
So a lot of quality people come from there, and then it just set the precedent. A lot of artists from like Jam Master Jay, Irv Gotti, my uncle, Ja Rule, LL Cool J, Russell Simmons, The Wolf of Wall Street is from Queens, Donald Trump is from Queens. So
Yeah, and we can shake our head at that, but I mean, he's successful and he falls right in line with everybody else. And yeah, that does make a lot of sense to me. You get that that New York living, you're kind of hardened by the area. It's tough, it's busy, it's moving fast, but then you also have that suburban area to where maybe a little bit more family centered. And that does make a lot of sense to me. And I got some buddies that are in Coca-Cola bottling and distributing. So I've been aware of the BODYARMOR, rise and everything that comes with it. But I want to hear you specifically from your end, how did you get introduced to that company originally?
Yeah, so Queens, it goes back to Queens again. There's a guy by the name of Mike Rapoli, who I owe my life to. He is an alumni of my high school. I went to Holy Cross High School, all boys school, where basketball was a big focus. Football was really good as well. And one day, my coach was like, yeah, let's go take a visit over to the vitamin water office where famous alumni, Mike Rapoli's there. So we went over there. All my teammates, they were sleeping. They really didn't care about beverages and stuff. And I was looking at him and I seen he was different. He was talking different. And, he just sold vitamin water to Coca-Cola for $4 billion at the time. This was in 2007. I thought that was the most craziest thing I've ever heard. I'm from Queens. I know a lot of successful people, but a guy not playing sports or not rapping, selling beverages to Coca-Cola for $4 billion, I knew that this was my path, you know? And I had scholarships to play basketball. Right then and there, I told him, I said, you know, I don't want to go to college. I'll just come and work for you. Almost similar to like Wolf of Wall Street, when Jonah Hill told Leonardo DiCaprio, you know, you show me a pay stub for $70,000, I quit my job, I'll come work for you. So
Right.
something like that, you know, but he was like, no, you got to go to school, you know, get your education. So I went to school, play basketball, but that wasn't really my focus. It was, you know, my focus, but I knew I wanted to get into entrepreneurship. So when I got out of college, he was starting Body Armor, and you know, I missed the vitamin water run. I knew this Body Armor thing, with the leadership of Micropoli. So I got lucky enough to get on board in the early ground levels, man. Just like Punch, just like how, you know, we're getting in the early ground levels, man. So I got lucky, man.
Yeah, but hard work creates luck. And when you take advantage of opportunities, that creates luck. I'll look. I say all the time, I'm the luckiest dude you've ever met. But there's also a work ethic that comes with it that can
Totally.
aid in that luck. And I want
Absolutely.
everyone to listen to that part of the story. And I know Blaise emphasized it when he said it, but everybody else was sleeping, and you took advantage of an opportunity. And there's so many times in your life where you may be meeting somebody and you just don't take it serious, and you never know when that one introduction will change your life. You don't know when that one meeting, that one scenario where someone comes to speak and maybe you go up and shake their hand. I have a book coming out this summer. Me and John Gordon became
Nice.
friends, and the book will be published by John Gordon, the company John Gordon uses, and best-selling author. And I never would have had that connection if after John Gordon spoke to the Bills, if I didn't walk up and shake his hand and tell him thanks, tell him I was a big fan. That ignited a friendship, and we've been friends since. But now I'm producing a book, and then all of a sudden it's getting published by Wiley. So you never know when those little bitty things are going to pay off in the long run. And
Yes, sir.
I'm familiar with the drink space. I haven't done any investments in the drink space, but that is a crowded industry, because for every vitamin water and vitamin water and body armor, there's so many that don't make it. But and now it's Alani Nu, which is out of Louisville, Kentucky, or out of Southern Indiana, right outside of Louisville, and they're in the hundreds of millions in sales, and so they're seeing those multiples like vitamin water saw. So
Yep.
they're looking at a big time exit. But there's so many that
Absolutely.
don't make it. What separated Body Armor? Was it more the product or more the company and the culture?
Gotcha. Yeah, man. That, you know, you hit it right on the head, with taking advantage of opportunity. I just want to go back to that because I meet so many people. Like, I've made so much money off of just randomly asking people for their Instagram, and then it's so funny. Like when I ask people to, like, what's your Instagram? They always look at me like I'm crazy. Like, what do you want my Instagram for? Or, and then when they see my Instagram, they're like, oh, and then we make so many things happen, and they'd be like, damn, so I'm never afraid to ask somebody for their Instagram because, I've seen it happen so much, and the world's so small. There's so many ways to intertwine. So I'm always networking. It's a big thing I do. But the drink space is super crowded. You gotta kind of be like psycho to get involved. But the leadership, man, is so key. Mike Rapoli, I gotta go back to my guy. He knows how to grow brands. I would go around and buy the product myself. Like when we first got into Walmart, you have to sell a certain amount to stay in Walmart. So I would go around the country and buy 17 fruit punch, 17 tropical punch just to stay in there. Because, we believed in it so much. And then we started doing 2 million a week in Walmart, just to pick up that traction. So you got to be long-winded. You have to believe in like, if you have a great product, that's not enough. The execution part. And Micropoli is really good with executing on sales and promos, marketing, and just having the stamina. As you being a professional athlete, so many people, want to be professional athletes and almost have what it takes to do it. But there's like something that there's that stamina that, separates the good and from the great, and the people that make it and don't. So, yeah, man, just the plan of execution was just amazing for Body Armor. And, successfully we sold for $8 billion in November. That was the highest acquisition from a beverage, brand ever, Coca-Cola. So it was like storytelling. I was crying, bro. I was like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, and you should be crying because that is an unbelievable accomplishment. We talked about how crowded that space is, but there's so much work that goes into it. And you talk about those guys that almost make it to professional sports. A lot of it's being obsessed. And I hear that in business too. I heard Kobe Bryant one time talk about when he's looking at investments, he's like, outside of all the numbers and anything, he was like, I want to invest in businesses where the leader has no fallback plan, and he's obsessed with it. And that's where you see a lot of pro athletes. Like a lot of guys that make it in pro sports have no fallback plan. When their teacher asked them in second grade, what do you want to be? They said, I want to be a pro athlete. And they probably approach the rest of their school and everything else that way, but they're all in. They probably don't have a family business to go back to, because otherwise you're going to say, man, this conditioning session sucks. This weightlifting, this eating this way, missing this party, missing spring break. Like this isn't fun. If you have a family business to fall back on some money, like eventually you're not going to do it. And that's what makes you play the long game in business too. That's what makes you go around the country. I love the buying at the Walmarts. I have an investment in a seasoning company called Dano's, and we just went into Walmart. And so we've hired sales reps to be present all around the country to promote the products. But it's funny because we may end up having to buy a few in some states where we're not quite as popular yet. You go to these random states out west where maybe barbecue is not quite as popular and the seasoning. We might have to buy a few. I'm gonna take that. And,
but I'll give you a quick little gem. So I didn't just buy it. When I bought it, I took it up the street to the kids, the sports playing. I gave it out. And I say, if you love this, go up the block to that Walmart. We're sold there. So I didn't just leave it in our rental car and just return the car. And, I took it and, was strategic with giving out those samples and stuff. So yeah, man, definitely.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense for individuals that are either a part of a brand new startup or they're looking to be an entrepreneur themselves. What advice would you have for them?
I tell them good luck.
What's it? 1 in 30 startups are successful.
Yeah, sure, right.
And that's not like successful like Body Armor. That's successful like you can pay the bills.
Yeah, it's super tough, man. And when you said to be obsessed, that's definitely something. Kobe, got involved with Body Armor and helped us tremendously. Blow that company up. But you do got to be obsessed with what you do. And it's funny because now my hands are in a little bit of everything. And you said no fallback plan. But I do like to have my eggs spread in different baskets just because I try to monetize everything I do. I eat food. So I should promote a restaurant. I've got to wear sneakers. So I should promote a sneaker company. So somebody was telling me, called me a cleaner yesterday, a term they said Kobe used. I don't leave anything on the table. I'm cleaning up the whole thing. I want, my beverage company, it's Uptime, my energy gummy is Punch. So there's so many different facets of a human. So I just try to monetize every situation almost, because it's not like I just drink drinks all day. I gotta eat food, I gotta work out. So all those little steps, man, I'm trying to monetize. Definitely.
That's smart. I try and do the same thing. Whether it's food, it's a beef jerky company, and that's a lot of the podcast social media space. And I tell these athletes all the time, I'm like, one, go after your craft, because winning, like use Tom Brady as an example, and not everyone's going to be Tom Brady. Obviously, I get that, but Tom Brady wasn't on social media prior to establishing himself in the NFL. Establish yourself in business, establish yourself in the NFL, whatever it may be, and then go out there and then monetize pretty much everything you do, because social media could be such a powerful tool. And I see you doing it all the time. You do a great job of it.
I appreciate
Someone that
it.
I want to model, what I'm doing after,
Appreciate
honestly.
it.
And part of the reason
Appreciate it.
we so much wanted you to be part of that Punched Energy team was the dude who called you a cleaner. Was that Tim Grover?
Yeah. So yep. So somebody, they yesterday they told me about the book, Tim
Yeah.
Grover's book, and they said the clean. Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah, he's
knew
got a
that,
book.
man.
He's got a book called Winning, and for those of you out there that haven't read it, it is excellent. It talks about he was Michael Jordan's performance coach for 16 years. Whenever Jordan retired, Kobe called Jordan and said, "Hey, can I, use your guy?" So then Kobe started training with him. D Wade after Kobe. And so he worked with those three, and then now he took on his first football client, and that's Russell Wilson. And so this
Oh,
guy is like a hired gun to kind of just take you to the next level, whether it's performance, mindset, nutrition. He is literally just a hired gun, and he learned so
man.
much. So in Winning, he's got 2 books out, 2 or 3, but in Winning, he talks a lot about, the difference between Michael and Kobe, a lot of similarities. And then he talks of
Mm.
cleaners is one of the terms he uses in there a lot. So I assume that was what it was from.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to read that because I didn't see. I'm definitely gonna have to read it and maybe try to reach out to him and see if he could train me too, man.
Yep, absolutely. So you talked about everything you got going on in outside of just being a businessman. You're an MBA agent, an actor, a model.
Yes,
How
sir.
do you manage all that time wise? Because there's so many people listening out there like, man, I just feel like my plate's so full already, but I want to
Yeah.
diversify. I want to get some other things going.
That's, it's something I struggle with, like scheduling. Since moving out here to LA in January, um, I've been working on my scheduling. Like in New York, everyone runs around like a chicken with their head cut off. You should see my guy, Mike Rapoli. He's the man. He's like fucking God to me, but he scrambles and calls audibles like Peyton Manning. The way he changes things up. Um, but I'm sure he has a really good schedule and he try to keep it as tight as possible. But just with managing the different brands and different things that I'm doing, it's kind of easy for me because I don't have uh, uh, like there's no like multiple beverage companies I'm with. So everything is in its different pockets. There's a time and place for it all. When I'm doing acting, NBA agent is not that's just not at that time. So making sure your schedule is super tight and right is definitely key and something I'm continuing to work on. As we go.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And people often will ask me the same thing with investing and broadcasting and the podcast and leading a men's group at church and all this stuff I got going. Like, how do you manage to do all that? I'm like, well, during broadcast season, I try and backload a lot of podcasts so that it's already ready. I'm not looking at a ton of investments during broadcast season. When the off season hits, okay, now it's some family time too. Okay, where can I got to mix it all in, but there's different seasons of life. So I think that's a great takeaway there. And a lot of the most successful people, and I'd love to know Rapoli's too, but like, do you have a specific morning routine that you stick to each day?
I definitely need to work out in the morning time. I definitely I wake up early. I've been talking to a lot of older people who these older ladies yesterday. I was just at a restaurant. They were like 70 years old, and they were saying how when you're a kid, you want to wake up late, and then when you get older, you love waking up early. And I know all successful people wake up super early. So definitely getting up early. I'm up at about like 5:30. I love working out in the morning, getting that pumping. That gives me that advantage. And as I'm sure like when you wake up early and you get your workout in before 7 a.m. and the rest of the world is just waking up, you have a mental advantage over people. You feel like you're ahead of the game. So getting that workout in and then I just go. People ask me, they say, who's the most famous person you've seen in LA? I say, every morning when I wake up, because I live in Hollywood, I look in the mirror and I see Blaise Ffrench. So I always check in with myself first because I'm so confident in myself. Like some people might be more have something more than you, or you know, you'll never be kind of the best at everything. But just believing in yourself and confident, man. I wouldn't trade my life in for nothing. And I've been through ups and downs. I've lost so many close people to me, but it's made my journey. It's made me who I am, and I just love life and opportunities, you know, that I'm given.
Yeah, that's really well said, brother. What's your ultimate
Yeah.
career goal?
To own an NBA team.
I love it.
Yeah, and I don't have to own the whole thing too. And a big thing with me, I love to win, bro. Like I don't have to be the star guy. Like, and I came to that realization back when I was in high school, because I used to be a shooting guard, and they told me, they said, yeah, bro, you got to be a point guard if you want to go to the next level. And that day it crushed me, man. I was like, I'm not the guy. I got to be the passer. And I came to the realization, and I said, you know, you'll make it higher. You could go D1 as a shooting guard. You might not be D1, but a point guard. So I don't mind what role I'm in. I just want to be on the boat, you know. So like with body armor, I don't care what I gotta do. If I gotta wash the dog, if I gotta take the cars out, I'm like all hands on deck. I just want to win, you know, whatever it takes. I'm not like a salesman or just a marketing guy. I'm whatever it takes kind of guy. Whatever it needs. You need me to go pick up the lunch. You need me to drop the kids off. You know, because building brands require so many different things. It's not like you're working for an Apple who have a system in play where you just plug and play. This is brand building, so it requires all kinds of crazy shit. So just put me on the boat, man, with Punch. Whatever we need, man, I'll do, you know.
No doubt about it. And it's that servant mentality. Like when you said, hey, I'm willing to do anything, the best leaders I've ever seen are willing to do that. There's a lot of people that are around you that would say, no, Blaise is the man. And then you see yourself as like, no, I'm not above doing those things. I'm not above facilitating, and always recognizing. I love how you say, like, I'll do my specific role, and I don't necessarily have to own the whole thing. Like I'll do my specific role. And what a lot of people miss is how valuable a team is around them in anything that you do, you know, in anything. And running a podcast, I can't run a podcast without my team. I can't edit a podcast. I'm no good at making graphics. I'm not good at pushing it out. I got to be reminded that I need to do a reel, you know, to push it out. Like there's got to be a team no matter what you're doing. And I love the way you recognize that. You have an enormous social media following. What would be your advice out there for those out there that want to grow in their social media following?
Yeah, I would say momentum. I found the algorithms on Instagram with the momentum. So like maybe like 5-6 years ago, I kind of started getting really involved with Instagram. And you know, I came to California. I was at a DJ Khaled party, took some pictures with DJ Khaled. Diddy threw me on his Instagram. Body Armor. It's like a compounding interest kind of thing where it's like if you hit these marks, it'll start to explode a little bit. And it's not like a viral kind of thing. So I never look to do something outrageous that'll just viral me in one day, but just a compounding kind of interest kind of thing where I'm hitting them with photos, and then I'm doing something with Puma, and then Banana Republic. So I kind of found how to just kind of just keep adding it on. And now people are like, now this he's doing, and then that, like, I can't keep up with this guy. It's all over the place. So that really helped grow, you know, my social media and not hitting them with just one thing. So I you know, to keep people engaged, especially these days, people, it's hard to, the attention spans are all over the place. So I like to give people different things. One day you see me doing mattress, the next day I'm doing sneakers, next energy drink, then this, then that. So just keep them engaged with different things and inspired and motivated. But yeah, that compounding thing and everything, I found a little good rhythm there.
Yeah. And that's the key. And consistency is key in anything in life. And from everything I hear, consistency is a big time key in social media. So
Yes,
very well
sir.
said there. All right. I got a few recurring questions for you and we'll get you out of here.
Let's do it.
Number one, what's your favorite book?
That's a good question. Probably off the top of my head, 50 Laws of Power from 50 Cent. I read recently. That was pretty dope.
Man, I got to check that out. I bet that's good.
That one was good.
What role does your faith play in your life?
Oh man, that's everything. I lost my mom when I was 15 years old, and
Sorry.
yeah, man, and my grandma, me and my grandma are super close. I'm going to see her in a little bit, and Faith, man, she was like, you gotta have faith, and that it really tested me because at that time I was depressed. I didn't believe in God, or I was going through it, and just having that faith, because sometimes that's all you got. Actually, it is all you got, because and like with Body Armor, that was a big faith play. It wasn't guaranteed that that was going to work out. I had faith in the leadership and the brand. I'll tell you a quick story. One time I was doing a demo at a supermarket during December. It was snowing out. I'm walking into the supermarket with this barrel cooler. It had ice, snowing. Like nobody wants a sports drink in the wintertime in New York. The barrel falls all over, ice everywhere before I get there. Right then and there, I said to myself, I'm done. I said, why am I doing this? You know, and then I called my grandma. I said, Grandma, I'm done. I'm about to call him and tell him, come pick this stuff up. And she said, no, just get a hot chocolate, relax. So that tested my faith, and it just made me just realize, and especially when you're going through things, sometimes it might seem like the end of the world, right? Everybody goes through that when sometimes it feels the worst. And then, you wait a little bit and you're like, oh, it's not that bad. That's where the faith comes in. And for me, just knowing that it'll be better. And I never have any bad days. I could have things could go bad. You can have bad moments, but I could just have a meal that'll make my day, so much better. So, faith is big for me, man.
Yeah, I love that. That's a great answer. And yeah, then that's excellent advice from your grandma. Because if you would have walked out of there, that'd change your life in a different way. And that's
Sure.
like when we talked about like that conditioning session when you want to quit.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's a brother, sometimes it's a grandma that gives you that nudge, like, no, you can get through this. That then gets you to that peak of success. That's great.
Yes, sir.
What was your first car?
My first car was my mom's Toyota RAV. Yeah, when I was 17, I had a Toyota RAV. But it's crazy. I got another quick story. So in New York, maybe 4 years ago, or yeah, 3 years ago, I had a Camaro. I always love these fast little cars. And I wanted to humble myself and kind of just get back to me and lock in. And it was big. So I got a Honda with my boy. He's a cop and he has a Honda, and he's very humble and he's so focused. So I wanted to be like that. When I see people doing things, I'm inspired. So I said, let me get a Honda and let me focus up. So I got the Honda, focused up. Life really took off. I really started, like, social media started growing, but just in terms of like perception, driving a Honda and kind of doing the things I do, and people judged me. And when I used to go on dates, I would pull up in my Honda, right, to these beautiful women, models, and they would come outside and they'd be like, where are you? I'd be right in front of them sitting in my Honda. They like, look, it's so many times, bro, it's happened. They like, where are you? I'm sitting right there. And they'd be like, oh, I didn't expect you to be driving this car.
Hey,
But
I love that.
yeah.
And you know what? Me and my wife, we started dating in college. Our first date was at Chili's. And I always say,
Hey.
nowadays, like, our favorite restaurant in town is Jeff Ruby's. Like, that's the nicest restaurant in town. Like, if I took her on our first date at Jeff Ruby's, our relationship dynamic might be different than if we went to a Chili's. And our second date was at a little hole in the wall sushi spot that I knew the people that ran it. It's like, that changes the dynamic. So I love that you're picking these girls up in a Honda. That sets the standard. Like, this is me. Like, okay, if you wanted the flash, like, you may get that, and they probably will eventually. But like, no, you got to like me for me. So I do like that.
Exactly. Oh man, I appreciate it, man.
Hey, what's your favorite restaurant?
Nobu, probably Nobu 57th, and here in Malibu, Nobu is the spot.
Yep, that place is great. I've been to the one in New York, the one in Miami. It is killer.
Oh, I haven't been to Miami yet. I'll definitely check that one out.
It's a good spot. All right, last one for me. This is what's next with Eric Wood. What's next for Blaise Ffrench? What's coming down the line for you?
Honestly, just I have so much that I'm doing. I'm just gonna continue doing what I'm doing and just kind of take it to the next level. So running the marketing for Uptime Energy Drink, taking that to the next level. Punch Energy gummies, taking that to the next level, getting into more retailers, selling more partnerships, having more faith, reading more books, connecting with great people like you. So just continue doing what I'm doing, and also acting is big for me. And I booked a movie in New Jersey that I'm shooting in June in about 2 weeks. So more of that. So just more Blaise Ffrench, more bigger partnerships, just bigger and better, man. Yeah, more cleaning up.
I love it. Congrats on the movie gig too. If you ever need an
Appreciate it.
extra of a dude who used to play football that's about 65 pounds lighter and doesn't quite look like a football player anymore, let me know. But hey,
You're the man.
your time. I know how busy you are. So I truly appreciate the time you took to pour into me, pour into listeners. There's so much gold in this episode, whether you're an athlete, a businessman, whether you're just trying to get to that what's next, that next level in your life. So thank you so much for your time, and I can't wait to connect further down the road.
Thank you for having me, man. You're the man.
Likewise, brother.